if you find yourself freezing up and not being able to find the words when people take you off guard and ambush you, you've got to listen to this. Chances are you're simply making the common mistakes that people make, that the 1%ers do not make. What I mean by that is I'm Dan O'Connor. I'm a communication strategist. For more than 25 years, I have been studying and coaching who would be considered to be the top 1% communicators in the world. And all of the 1%ers, when ambushed, handle it the same way.
Dan, we've been reviewing some of your trades, and it looks like you may have been pushing products that weren't in your client's best interests.
The people in the 1% send signals that they are innocent, and you're going to believe them and support them because of the signals they send. And today I'm going to give you those signals. Here's what they do. Number one, they answer a different question from the question they were asked.
Did you do this?
That's where most people lose it. Your instincts try to help you, but they just sabotage you if they can get through it all. Should I explain myself? If you explain yourself, you are reinforcing their narrative. Maybe I should just stay silent and wait it out. If you stay silent without a narrative, the room decides what the narrative is. Come on, should I just push back hard? If you confront them, you're going to be escalating the situation. Maybe I should relieve the tension by telling a joke. Don't do that. Should I correct the facts? If you correct too fast, you look defensive. If you push back, you just look unstable. If you don't take control of this narrative, you are going to look weak. I mean, all of those are terrible options. And they're ones that you never want to choose because they're all working within someone else's narrative. How far do you think you're going to get? No matter what you do, you're still doing it within someone else's story of you. Instead, take charge of your story, set the narrative, and instead of worrying about what to say, worry about what signals to send. Now watch what the 1% does instead. Signal number one, you answer a different question from the question you were asked. Here's what I mean by that. When they ask you a question that sounds like, did you do this? The question you want to answer is going to be a more high-level, high-status question. So for example, instead of answering,
did you do this?
The question you're going to answer is, what are we talking about anyway? Here are some examples of those. Now, no matter which one you choose, remember to do it in your power tone. For example, if I were to answer a process question, that's a more high-level question. And to answer it might sound like this. John, if there's a concern, the first step is to review it systematically. You realize that, don't you? See, what the room sees is you are not accused. You are concerned with procedure and policy. Procedural people don't look guilty. Or let's say you'll raise this higher to a standards question. Here's how that might sound. John, what matters here is whether the decisions that were made met our compliance standards. Isn't that correct? Of course it is. And people who are concerned with standards and rules, they're not guilty. Or I might raise this to a purpose question, in which case I would answer the question, what are we really trying to resolve here? John, if there's a concern here, the goal is to resolve it accurately. Isn't that correct? Of course it is. So what people will see if you answer these types of questions is that you're concerned with procedure, rules, outcome. People like that, they're never guilty. They never look cornered. Now, why does this work? Because you never answer the accusation. You answer a bigger, more important question. People didn't know necessarily it was bigger and more important until you said it, but now you did, and they do. When you answer that bigger question, you step out of the defendant's chair before anyone notices that it's empty. Signal number two, they set the narrative. The top 1%ers are always letting everybody know, I'm in charge of not just this narrative, but my life. And since people seem to be confused as to what's going on here, let me clarify by telling you what the story is. They say it right out loud. See, the people who are accusing you are trying to force the narrative of,
did you do something wrong? You have a few questions to answer.
The 1%ers, they do not enter that story. They flip past that page because they have a different question. And the question that you want to be answering is, what kind of a conversation is this? Here are 3 ways that they do that. They frame it as a facts conversation. Let's ground this conversation in verifiable facts before we interpret anything, okay? What that signals is order, discipline, authority, and remember, pause before you say everything. It's the pause. It's those moments that give people time to think and attach meaning to what it is that you're saying. Or you could frame it as a process conversation. There's a proper way to address concerns like this. and I want to ensure we're following it. That's going to tell everybody in the room, you are professional, you are structured, and you are in control. Or you could frame this as a conversation that is in itself a resolution. This is it. This is the resolution. Now, if there's a concern, the goal should be to resolve that concern accurately, right? That's what I thought. Remember how you framed that conversation going forward, because now everything is going to be judged according to that frame. And signal number 3. So you're going to subtly but clearly define what's not going to happen here. The last thing you want to do is give them anything that they may have expected. Nobody's going to expect you to state what it is you're not going to do in an ambush meeting. Here's what I mean by that. What you're going to do is remove the wrong options. For example, well, I'm not going to engage in any conversation that's based on things other than facts. I'm certainly not going to answer any baseless accusations. And I suggest that none of us here engage in confrontational framing and make the situation even worse, especially since I see no evidence that it's based on reality. And when you name what you will not do and what won't happen, you're forcing what you hope to happen. Well, we're not going to talk about all that. What are we going to talk about? Well, that's where I'm coming in. Send them when you need them, and people will support you, believe you, and carry you off to whatever destiny you choose.
If you'd like to practice these power phrases live with me for free, join our private group. The link's in the description. We start February 7th, and there's only 6 spots left. So if it is closed when you get there, make sure to join our wait list for the next group. I hope to see you in there. Please support this channel and the people that it helps by subscribing to it, liking these videos, and sharing. I appreciate it, and it helps.